Hey guys, today I wanted to talk to you about one of the easiest, fastest ways to skyrocket your ballet training. Curious what it is? It's really simple. Today I wanted to talk to you about ballet journals. Tell me you have a ballet journal, because if you don't, you need to start one right away. These are the easiest things to do, and they will make such a huge difference in your training. Say you just took an amazing class where you got awesome information or some really inspiring quote and you were thinking, I've got to remember that. And then you leave class and you don't write it down and you look at your phone, you get a million notifications because you're super popular, I know. And then boom, you forgot. It's that simple. All you have to do is after that incredible class, take out your notebook, write it down. And there it is, forever for you to reference. Plus, there are studies that prove that if you write something down, you are way more likely to remember it. So you can pretty much do anything you want with this. You can make it super fancy and creative and go all out, or you can just go super duper simple. You can use it to write anything you want. This is your canvas. You decorate it and fill it how you want. However, I'd love to give you a few suggestions. Some of the things that I love to write about in my ballet journals are, of course, corrections. I always write down any corrections that I got in class. It's a great thing to look back on after class or weeks later, and you can kind of track your progress and see how you're doing on that specific correction. Sometimes in a class you can get so many corrections that it's hard to remember all of them. So if you stop immediately after class and write down all the corrections that you got, you can kind of tackle one correction at a time and really focus on one specific area. Another thing that I love to write about is tricky combinations, or just combinations that I really loved. I will write down combinations and sometimes I'll draw visuals with arrows or really rudimentary stick drawing ballerinas. This was especially helpful for me when I first started ballet because I started a little bit later in the game, and I remember when I first started there were so many things that were super confusing to me and my legs and my arms would get all tangled up, and so it was really helpful for me to draw little rudimentary diagrams with stick figure ballerinas, and I'd put the right and the left over them and I'd draw arrows, and these were just really helpful for me to be able to break down more complex steps. So you can write down any combination that you loved or that you had more trouble with, add anything that's helpful for you to sit down and dissect it out. In fact, in a lot of my ballet journals, I write out the entire class. So not only is this helpful to look back on and see what the combinations you did were when you got that specific correction, but I also think that writing down combinations can be really helpful for memory recall, especially when you're a beginner dancer. There is this whole mental aspect to dancing that can be really overwhelming when you first start. And so if you practice recalling the combinations after your class, the act of writing it down is really powerful, and it will help build the neural pathways in your brain to make it easier for you to recall combinations or pick them up faster. You can write down your goals or things that you really want to try or achieve. And then what I used to do is whenever I would achieve one of my goals, I'd come back to my journal and I'd write in the date that I achieved it. And I love to be able to look back on them now because it also shows me how much progress that I've made. Sometimes it can be hard to remember where you were when you started, and you can just look at where you are now and get so frustrated that you're not improving as quickly as you think you should be improving. But then when you go and look back at your ballet journals and see what you were struggling with a month ago, a year ago, and see where you are now, it can be really encouraging how much progress you've made, and the things that were difficult to you maybe are easier now. Another thing that I love to write down in my ballet journals is choreography. So if you are learning a ballet variation or specific choreography for a show, or even just a jazz combination, you can try to go through the choreography in your head and write it out. Something that I used to love to do when I was writing out group choreography is I would draw little X formations, kind of like you would see on a football field or something like that, with X's and circles and arrows. But drawing out the pathways and the formations was always really helpful for me because I'm very visual. You can write down inspiring quotes. This is something that I always love to do. Sometimes I would look up inspiring quotes, or I'd write down inspiring quotes that I got from my teachers, or maybe that I saw out on a billboard, in a magazine. I also would cut out pictures and stick them in my journals or on top of my journals. Really anything that inspired me, I just wanted to keep it with me and be able to draw upon it whenever I wanted. Okay guys, that is my challenge to you. If you don't have a ballet journal, start one now. And if you do have a ballet journal, make sure that you're writing in it regularly. It doesn't take much and it will make a huge difference in your training. I would love to see pictures of your journals. If you're willing to do that, send them to me on Snapchat or Instagram. I will have those linked below. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Super rudimentary stick drawings. This is when I was just learning how to balance in passe, and that might seem really ridiculous or simple, but this was hard for me. So I practiced drawing, plying with the arms open and the legs open, and then snapping the arms and the leg closed at the same time. Down here, you can see my little stick drawing. This is me learning how to do a jeté battu. I drew little arrows and little feet, tried to show where you close and how you land. This is like a super simple stretch, but it was super complicated to me, so I wrote down right, left, what's right and left here.